Today I'm going to be talking about a project in DLRC. So DLRC is called the Dubai Land Residence Complex. To understand the area, we need to understand who our tenant demographic is, because we're investing in the affordable segment. This is generally the segment that's good for rentals, and we need to understand who our tenant demographic is. So our three main tenant demographic, first is downtown, DIFC, and Business Bay. So these three make up roughly around 50% of the commercial supply and demand. The problem with the buildings that are in downtown or DIFC is that they are quite old. And if you want something that's new and modern, you're going to have to pay kind of an expensive price, which is something that a lot of the young individuals working in those areas can't afford. So this is going to push them into nearby areas like DLRC, which is 20 minutes away. So that's our first tenant demographic. Now, our second tenant demographic is Silicon Oasis. Now, Silicon Oasis is part of the government's vision. Now, Silicon Oasis, the plan is for it to be an IT hub, and all the startups, all the IT companies will be operating in Silicon Oasis. And in Dubai, when you're investing with the government, it's generally a much safer bet. And the problem with Silicon Oasis, again, is the residential supply is already there, and a lot of the buildings are very old. And there's only a couple of buildings that are actually new and modern. So again, that's going to push a lot of the people who are working there into nearby areas like DLRC, which is around 5 to 10 minutes away. And our second main demographic is Academic City. Now, the government, again, is spending a lot of money in Academic City. This is where universities and other schooling facilities are. Now, as someone who grew up in Dubai, I know that universities here are quite lacking, to be honest, because majority of the time when students finish high school, they go abroad and they do university studies abroad. So this is something that the Dubai government is really working on and investing a lot of money to make sure that the students actually continue to study university here and potentially attract foreign students. So the government is spending a lot of money in Academic City. So again, that's our third tenant demographic, is the people working in Academic City and all the students that are going to be studying over there. Now we have a fourth demographic, which is the Dubai South Airport and the Expo City. That's roughly around 25 minutes away from DLRC. Now, Expo City is set out to be the second economic hub in Dubai. Again, the government is investing billions to make sure that a lot of companies are operating there. You already have companies like Siemens, Emirates already operating there. So it's going to be a big commercial hub that, again, will leverage that as our tenant demographic. There's the Metro Blue Line that's going to be coming nearby to Dubai Land, which is also going to help with our investment. And again, any added infrastructure is always a plus sign. And the handover for it around 2029. A lot of times when people invest in the affordable segment, they invest in the central locations, areas like Arjan, JVT, JVC, and all of these locations. Now, these locations are good, but you have to be a lot more picky. Certain areas like JVC, which aren't necessarily the most desirable just because of the amount of supply. And I'd say the only disadvantage with these areas is the number of competition you have investing here. They are still centrally located and there are really good investments here. But the advantage that Dubai Land Residence Complex has is in that mostly made up of villas. So again, you're going to have a lot less competitions compared to where people usually invest, which is in the affordable segment. You've got like 7-8 communities all beside each other, which is a lot of competition. So that's really Dubai Land Residence Complex in a nutshell. Now, the developer that I'm going to be talking about in DLRC is called H&B Homes. H&B already have a delivered project that's in Arjan. Now it's called Beverly Boulevard. We can see that the rental transactions in Beverly Boulevard is around 90 to 95K for one bedrooms. Now, if you look at the average in Arjan, it's around 70K. So that's a difference of 25 to 30%. Now, the biggest reason the rent in Beverly Boulevard is much higher is because of the quality of construction of the apartments. Now, the way I found out about H&B is funny because I actually didn't know about them. But then my friend, he was an investor in Beverly Boulevard, he bought back when it was off plan. And we went to visit the handover apartment. And I was genuinely very impressed by the developer when I saw it firsthand, which is what caused me to continue to research more about the developer. So you look at the renders and the promised delivered project, and this was in JVC. So here you have the renders, and this is the delivered. So again, It's not just renders, it's actual good quality when it does get delivered. And this is what the apartment in Arjan looks like. So it's very high quality and it's very good. Now, I'll show you the building that's in Arjan before I go over the expected returns, just so you can get a better idea. So this is just the amenities. Now, since the DLRC project is still in pre-launch, there's still no brochures that we can show. But just to get a good idea, skip forward to so here's what the apartments look like. Again, very, very good quality. So in terms of expected returns, we can expect in DLRC. So there's a building called Bengati East in DLRC. This is renting around 70 to 75K for 1 bedrooms. Now, if you see how it looks, the quality isn't necessarily the most desirable thing. This is because before Bengati actually rebranded, this is one of their white and orange buildings. So the quality isn't that good, but it's still renting out at 70K. This is due to it just being larger. It's around 900 square feet large. So if we assume, now the 1 beds are selling in H&B at 950,000 dirhams. If we assume 75K rent, which is very realistic comparing it to this apartment, and the H&B one is going to have much better quality, that's roughly 7.8% gross rental yield, which is very good in today's market. Now, the best case scenario is 80K dirhams per year. And again, the 1 bedroom starts at 950,000 dirhams. So again, that's 8.4% gross rental yield, which is, again, very good into today's standard, because it's getting more and more competitive to get these kind of rental yields with the amount of 1 bedrooms available on the market. And in terms of capital appreciation, I haven't put it down, but you have some developers like Object One, their 1 bedrooms, they're nearly touching at 1.3 million. So if their off-plan is selling at 1.3 million and this one is selling at 950K, you can already assume the room for growth for the capital appreciation. So that's really the project. The handover is around Q4 2027. And yeah, I'd love to hear if you guys have any question.
This is your also. Yeah. Berbere.
2 bedrooms, 1.3 million.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Scale also only 2.
No, I believe just 2 bedroom.
Just. Yeah. And the average size for 2 bedroom in your area?
It's around like 1,080.
1,080. And the amenities in the buildings are good?
Yeah, the general amenities. I mean, do you look at the Arjan one? Yeah, it's good amenities. But this one, the brochures in it isn't out yet. But you would assume they have good quality amenities, just judging from the Arjan project.
There's another one coming in Motor City as well, right? H&B.
That's already there. It's been launched.
Arjan lobby is fantastic. Very nice. Like a hotel.
Yeah, it's a very nice building, which is why it's renting out much higher.
Do they do 3 bed as well? Or is it just studio 1 and 2?
Just studio 1 and 2.
Studio also there?
Studio is there, yeah. It's 625. And the advantage of its pinned, if you look at the pinned location, it's much closer to the metro. So the metro will be somewhere around here. And the pinned location is over here. You have some projects in DLRC which are all the way over here, and they're like promising metro station, which, it's a bit too far from the metro station to really benefit from it.
Which units do you think offer more value?
I'd say the 2 beds and the 1 beds, definitely. Just because 2 beds, a lot more room for capital appreciation compared to the 1 beds. And the 1 beds, the comparables are there. You can expect very good rentals. Generally, in today's market, I wouldn't really necessarily go too much for studios, just because the competition is a lot higher. But then still there's value in their studios because they're selling at 625K. Yeah. You look at some Imtiaz projects or the other ones, they're selling at 750K, so there is room again for that capital appreciation.
Yeah. What's the price per square foot generally on average?
The 1 beds, they haven't released the sizes, but it's probably around 700. If you look at the 2 beds, if they're selling at 1.3 and they're sized at around 1,080, you're looking between 1,350 price per square foot, which is good. You look at Imtiaz, Object One, some are touching 1,500 dirhams per square foot. Any other questions? We're good?
Thank you.
Thank you guys.